right, we are at Buggy Trash Dad's secret hideout. We have a Volkswagen Dune Buggy engine update. But first, you got to see this go-kart. This thing, as simple as it looks, is a ripper. It takes my big carcass, flings it around, no problem. We have the elusive Jeff Hayes and Mr. Wizard of the Volkswagen world. So what he did was he took this case, it's a 1600 dual port, nothing fancy, just totally opened it up, cleaned it out. It's one of the ones that I had laying around. And yeah, that's where we're at. We got all this good stuff from Empy. Corey over there set us up with the pistons, cylinders, heads, all the good stuff. So right now, where we're at, down to just down to setting the end play on the crank. And then the cool tins are getting cleaned for under the cylinders. And then he's going to put this together. And what do you think? Another week that'll be back in the car?
Yeah, probably less than that.
Probably less than a week. So stand by. We're back again. This weather's crazy. We were going to work on Little Jewel, but look, the flood has come in the shop. The wind changed. I'm not opening that door until the weather's passed. So
it's serious out there, guys.
Our truck's on the other side of the door, and the wind is right there. It's coming through. I had bought a bunch of roofing material for the house and the shop. Piles of that are taking off. I had to run outside, batten down the hatches. So today,
it's for real, like rough out there.
It's like constant 40 mile per hour, and then gusts to who knows what. Like, it's crazy. Structure's still here. It's been here since forever.
Mm-hmm.
Desert tough.
Yeah.
So we're going to do some work on the Dune Buggy. I visited my friend Barry. He's got the engine pretty much dialed in. I'm going to yank the engine out of this. It's a really simple idea in taking this out because it's exposed. But if you never worked on a Volkswagen engine, you'll see like with 3 tools pretty much.
You see the 3 tools.
A screwdriver, a vice grip, and a either 17 or 19 millimeter, depending, and a floor jack. You could take the engine out of this. No engine hoist, no radiator, no rocket science.
So I'm cool because when sometimes I take Persephone out for rides, I have friends come and visit, girlfriends and stuff, and wouldn't that be so badass if like Persephone stalled? And then I was like, I got it. So impressive. So I'm
How come
excited.
none of your boyfriends visit?
Huh?
How come none of your boyfriends visit? Only
How
girlfriends?
come none of my what?
Your boyfriends visit.
Ah.
You just mentioned girlfriends.
Yeah, I like
You don't
my
have any?
girlfriends visiting me. I don't have any. You're my only person.
Well, I don't have any girlfriends either. Just taking out this throttle cable. This is a pretty stout throttle cable. If you know Volkswagens, that ain't the usual jam. This is some heavy freaking wire. Look over by the shifter, Jamie. You could see that they ran the accelerator cable exposed right on the outside.
Oh, yeah.
So super basic. A lot of stuff like this in stock form, you'll get sand through the tubes in the chassis. So they just ran it wide open. I like that idea. Very basic. Super go-kart style. So, I mean, that's the first step. The screwdriver would be used to take off the fuel line, but it's already disconnected, so get rid of the screwdriver. You would unplug a couple wires. You'd take the wire off the alternator. Well, in this case, it's a generator. You take the wires off the generator and the voltage regulator and get that whole harness out of the way. Fortunately for me, this buggy ain't got none of that.
So, like, what will you do with this engine then?
Boat anchor.
Oh.
This is where you edit in the applause. It can be rebuilt. It's a single port, like probably a 15 or 1300. I don't know. It's a small engine. See the size of these intakes? That looks smaller than the 1500 to me. I'm not that familiar with old stuff, but yeah.
And what's in my buggy?
1600 dual port. That is the
She
paramount stock form of the Type 1 engine.
She has a lot of what's it.
That's what's going in this, the same deal. Just
Oh, really?
stock, bare bones. I mean, in a super light car like this, for me and our cruising style, it's plenty of power. Barry, the fella that's doing the engine's got some big old engine in his rail. That car scoots.
The red one, right?
Yeah, the red one
The
we
one
took to
that
Dune
took me up Comp Hill at
Yeah,
Dumont Dunes
yeah,
when I was naive.
that thing.
That was crazy.
So with a lot of these engines, the stud might pull out of the case as you're backing this off. I thought that was happening, but now all of a sudden it's coming free. These two bottom bolts are difficult to get to or even see because the starter's in the way. I don't even think you'll see that, Jamie, but I'll once I pull the engine, you'll see where the 4 bolts are. For a standard Beetle body or Gia, you'll access these two from underneath the frame horns, but I'm able to get in here because there's no body surrounding it. There's no cooling tin. The Bug has a cooling tin that runs along the transaxle bell housing, and you can't really put your hands in there, so you go under. But you might be able to get this. See way down in there? I was on a TV show, Challenge,
Where is it at?
right there. I was on one other
Yeah, I
TV
see.
show once when we had to work on Volkswagens, and the whole team was like, I don't know, I've never even touched one of those things. I'm like, what? And I lost the engine pull challenge because these bolts get all crudded up over time. If your transaxle's leaking, maybe out of these boots, the wind will blow all that gunk, and then the dirt collects right on these bolts. You couldn't even see them on some of the Bugs I've worked on. So you could take 3 of these engine bolts off, and it'll still stay in place without any harm. So I like to just get the 2 bottom ones off first because they're a little tougher typically. In the standard Bug body, getting these 2 next ones is a little bit of a reach because you gotta wrangle your arm, especially for me. I got big mutton hands. You gotta wrangle your arm around the back of the fan shroud and also under the car in some cases because the clutch cable's in the way. But this buggy's a good example of how simple it is. Are there any questions?
No.
This is just as much fun as oxyacetylene torch, isn't it?
I think people really dug the oxyacetylene.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens every day, but without all those sparks and rock and roll lifestyle, cars is just a lot of doing this mundane stuff. See the 2 top bolts here? The later engines have an oil cooler that puffs out from the fan shroud here. So this isn't actually a nut in some of the engines. This is a threaded part of the engine case. But for this one, it's just a nut and bolt setup. And you can see it's not getting loose. So I'll grab number 2 tool of our 3 tool setup.
And if you guys are loving this content, we really appreciate all the love. So drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't, because we are only getting started. We have a million ideas.
Part of the weather event, I mentioned 2 things. The windshield for the other truck was coming in. We messed up with that fella. I misunderstood or something happened. Lack of communication, and we missed our opportunity for the window drop-off. So that's still pending. And if you know anything about California and the landscape and the freeways and the weather, there's only a couple ways to get from like the great inland valley, the Bakersfield and north area to Sacramento, to the eastern Sierras. We're on the east side of the Sierra Range in Mojave at the southern end. So there's kind of only 2 passes. There's 3, but from east to west, you can go over the Donner Pass, Oh, my favorite story.
I would not want to go to
I'm
the
not going to
Donner
get into
Pass
that right now. Near Truckee, up by Reno. And then this pass here next to us in Tehachapi, a much lower elevation, but it still gets snowed in. So right now, the freeway, the pass is closed. The highway patrol is just like, nope, no trucks, no body. So we're waiting on that. I think the fella's shacked up in Bakersfield
Aw.
with his trailer, eating some fast food and trying to stay warm.
Right.
So
Yeah, this weather is nuts.
yeah, it's wild.
So also we do plan on posting some content on our channel, and if you want that content, let us know of the spring flowers that are sure to pop up now. We'll probably get a super bloom.
Yeah, this March storm with this amount of rain, my moat is working perfectly. We had no flooding last night. That was awesome.
That was cool to see.
But right now I'm just putting a floor jack right under the center of the engine block. There's a oil drain cap and plug under there, so you want to kind of center it on that. I just know out of my own experience where centered is. We don't have to get under there with the camera, but on the other engine we could talk about that. Yeah,
It's cold.
it's cold and wet. It's about 35 degrees in here. That's not, big news for anyone that lives in the colder regions, but for us, it's chilly. Just taking this number 4 off, and you can see the engine case is starting to come apart right now. You see the gap in there. So I'm just going to get this to the pretty much end of its thread, and then decide if the engine looks balanced or not. Because you don't want this thing getting away from you.
Oh my God.
So the simplicity of it, if you're into like V8s or any kind of front engine car, you'll have this big engine hoist, a bunch of straps. You'll have to have taken the radiator off, and who knows what else with wiring harnesses. But the Bug, well, the Type 1 and all VW, in the same arrangement, you just pull it off. You got the floor jack right here. I'm using this exhaust. Ooh, I totally hit the microphone. Adjust that. Sorry, can you hear me?
Nothing's blinking, so I think we're good.
So all you do is just roll this thing back. I said, gotta come up a little bit. You want to take the pressure off a bit, and who knows, this thing could be rusty inside, but that's pretty much it right there. A little bit higher. Come on, let it go. Drop it a little bit. I got something else attached. Who knows? Engines are like that sometimes. I guess it likes where it lives. I don't have anything else attached. Give it up. Ah, gave it up. So pretty simple. I'll drop this now and show you the bolts I was talking about. So now you can see these lower bolts. You'll have to access them from underneath and inside. So yeah, not super developed conversation in this project, but look how rusty the flywheel is and everything.
Because I thought, honestly, that this part that we're looking at was part of the engine, but that's the engine makes that thing turn, and that's what makes the car go.
Yeah, so I'm glad I didn't try to use this.
Wow.
I mean, it may work, who knows, but it needs a full checkout and assessment. But you can see the studs come through here, so there's only 4 bolts that holds this engine on.
Wow.
But yes, this is the clutch. So this spring releases pressure on a disc that's in here, and that disc is the coupler that turns that makes the car go.
Ah.
So when you press the clutch, it pushes that, which pushes that. You have a free-floating clutch disc in there. And when it engages, the car's going to move. Simple power transmittance. getting excited. This exhaust is staying for sure. I got an idea for a skid plate, and then who knows what else. Maybe a couple more lights on the front.
I think
don't
you should
know.
have more lights on the front, like more cowbell.
Yeah, because I'll put an alternator on the other engine for sure. The front tires, one of our folks that wrote in said, think about the knobby tires on the front. You're sitting there, rocks, right? Bang, right in the mouth. I don't need that. I did order a set of trailer tires that they mentioned, but that's actually what we use on the front of Jamie's yellow buggy. They're just 10-ply, pretty smooth tread trailer tires. You ever get any rocks kicking up in your teeth?
No, but you also put a windshield on it.
Oh.
But I've not heard anything like hit the front.
Remember in the black bug that
Mm-hmm.
had those knobby tires on the front? Those rocks would come slamming up into the fenders.
Wow, yeah, because I know, yeah, no, there haven't been.
So I'll think about maybe I'll ride it out with these tires on the back and see how they handle. Because yeah, I'm not trying to get smashed in the face.
I was thinking I might get a cute helmet to wear when I ride in this.
A face gear, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, just because it's like open and it's so dusty out here and it is kind of rocky. So I was thinking about just getting a super cute helmet with face mask.
I'm gonna get a super cute helmet also. It's gonna be fun. We'll have our eye muffs and our helmets on.
Yep.
Well, it's pretty chilly. I think I've had enough for today.
I gotta get back to painting.
Yeah, I did a little field trip to the engine rebuilder, did a little work on some other projects, and I think that's a wrap. Sorry for the lack of content and our boring presentation. Come back again, please.
It's not boring.